All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is 9/9. Wow. 9/9. This should be a good day for me, I hope. You know why? For those of you who are part of the Red Dog mindset, I've gone over the nines. It's crazy. We all have like numbers that mean something to us. And my son was born in September. That's a 9. My wife was born in September. That's a 9. My dad was born in September. That's a 9. I was born in September. That's a 9. That's 4 nines. Then you have Cadence, my old dog, died on December 9th. My mom died on June 9th. She was declared dead at 9 o'clock. That's 7 nines. So let's see what 9/9 brings today. Anyway, hey, Kenny Roseberry has his 59th birthday, September 14th. What up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. What up, Joey? What up, Enver? What up, Fade, my trade? Hola. Anyway, with that all being said, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer. Thanks for tuning in. This is the 630 Club, where I go over levels of the indices. I try and go over where the action is, what could make us some money for the week, what we need to be aware of, and just get our routine and process going. At this point, it's 6:30. I've been up since about 4:45. Already got my mind straight. Already did my 20 to 5:20 in the sauna with a few hundred of my friends around the world. It's actually on demand. It's not just live. And then we break it up. And here we are. So, you have yesterday an inside day in the SPYs. I would think today could be another inside day in the SPYs. Ahead of the PPI and CPI, you have revisions today. You have the Apple event at 1 o'clock, and we'll see if we can continue to go sideways here. Qs actually, had a little bit of a relative strength feel yesterday. It's not everything is created equal, but, so far so good. Qs are moving along real nice. Other sectors are rotating around. I did buy something yesterday. I bought the XLE options. I went out a month. I feel like I did the same thing with XBI when nobody really cared about it and made some good money. First time I bought the XLE calls with the power plays was right here. Then we added, sold it really well, and now it's right back here. So, so there's some talk from some institutions that the XLE energy, which hasn't done anything, is is going to get some flows in October. So if you want to get some cheap options, I do think you could buy the XLE. But that's not a sexy trade. It's just like an anticipation trade. It's not NBIS, right? NBIS. Look at that. Consolidation. Some of you guys who use my pro earnings gap method, where you're in a swing trade versus a big gap, you're pleasantly surprised, right? You're long versus 62-ish, and all of a sudden, you're coming in today, and NBIS is chilling, up $31. Congratulations. Only in this business can you be, walking and all of a sudden you're like, wow, that was awesome. It doesn't happen all the time. Usually you just have to be consistent. Anyway, some people are like, what do you think, could move in sympathy? I kind of think this wolf is really interesting. I'm in some. I'm going to probably add to it. You had this big up move. It's been holding around here. I think that you're going to see some more AI deals with this wolf. I like it. I'm in it. I'm long. I'm going to probably see how it holds up. And then at some point, it could probably continue the upside. MLD said MBS is a year maker for me. Congratulations, MLD. MLD, so you could talk to me on YouTube, on Twitter. MLD is part of the Alpha team. He's also cheats and goes in the inner circle. No, I'm kidding. Been a friend for a while, and you do find a stock that's different. I'm sure a year ago you weren't in MBIS, but you look at a pattern, you look at the way it goes, and you get to know it and you get comfortable. Look at this. Look at this cup and handle pattern. Ever see a cup and handle pattern? Well, here it is. Here's your cup. Here's your consolidation. Broke above, held, and it's been trending. This is a special name. So, if you're in it, congratulations. My buddy Peter, who I just spoke to, he's got got a nice amount of shares. But anyway, now it's move on time. So NBIS and IREN, a lot of people like this is also, is one of those newer names that people have fallen in love with. Some of my friends have been selling $25 puts, as it's been trying to hold the 8-day. And at some point, it probably takes out 29.50. So this was a name that I didn't know about. And then a bunch of guys started putting on the radar and they're trading around it. And that's how you find new names. Kind of like, remember how we found Dash? A year and a half ago, I found Dash, and started trading it. And it's actually right now a little loose and wide. Some people are like, how come you're not that active in Dash? It's been a little sloppy. It's not really leading, but it's okay. Bottom line is, remember I brought you guys Dash, and this made some people's. You look at this cup and handle pattern on the weekly. Right here is when I really started to get to know Dash really well. And I said, hey, I think this thing goes to 225 to 250. Look at that, 225, 250. And now I bet in the next year this thing goes to 300. So get to know the names. Get your go-to list going. Get start moving around. How about OCTO continuation from yesterday? Wow. All right, let's see what that's doing this morning. OCTO up 7. That's cool. Just be careful with these type of names. A lot of these names have big moves, and then if you buy it wrong for a half a second, it could ruin your day. It could make your day or ruin your day. The bottom line is, do you trade these or do you not trade these? If you trade them, that's your business. There are a lot, but you got to make sure you're in it correctly, because if you bought SBET wrong, remember this, you had your move and then you had your breakout failure, and if you got caught on this day, because everyone, or actually, where was? Let's go to the daily, wherever it was, right here. If you didn't know how to use your sell rules, where you sell strength, or when it breaks below a prior high, where there's a red dog reversal, you've been kind of sucking wind all the way down to $15. So yes, you might be able to catch a nice trade. This was a great trade right here when it got above this gap up high. A lot of people caught short. Doesn't matter what the scenario is. If you trade for a living, you know how to handle that stuff. This is a buy. This is a push through failure, and then it failed. And now it's a little bit more interesting down here. Same thing with BMNR. Gave you a trade. The best trade of BMNR was right here when it took out this topping tail and squeezed the hell out of everyone. But then, boom! If you didn't get out of the way when it broke right here, from 100 and change down to where it finally looks like it's building a base. So there's all different types of names. For me, what I do is I like to be in the names that I can massage, that are trending, that that aren't as crazy. I guess it's my age. I'm 52. So what am I in? I'm in like Amazon. I think Amazon's going to make a new high. I think Amazon's close. I've been in Amazon for a while. Yesterday I had a nice little push. I'm in options. I'm in stock. It's not as sexy as those, but to me, I could buy some size and I could put my hands around it. What's it called? I do like. Someone asked me. I sold my Apple yesterday. Yes, Apple. People used to call me the Apple trader. I know that sometimes they like to sell an event. So I traded Apple with the Alpha team and with a lot of you guys from the 630 Club and all the guys on stocks on the 3 o'clock stocks on charts, whatever the hell it's called. From here, this is when I started trading Apple again. Apple was horrible. Started trading it here, bought it again, and now what I'm probably going to do with Apple is I'm probably going to wait. Let them try and sell the event a bit, unless they sell it prior, and then I'm going to probably go and I'm going to buy myself, some options a little bit further out. So Apple right now is down 80 cents. I actually sold it green yesterday. I still think Apple looks good, but the history of Apple is they sell the event and fast money kind of gets out, and then all of a sudden the buyback machine gets turned on and starts to trend again. So, it was a good sell yesterday. Would you buy open if it could hold 5? Well, like I just said, like you have to know what technical analysis is, right? And this yesterday did one of those red dog reversal sells. What's a red dog reversal sell? It pushes through a prior area, squeezes some shorts, gets some people to chase, and reverses. That's what it did yesterday. So if you're thinking it's going to hold the 8-day, well, this is where you would be buying it back, right? It's been holding the 8-day this entire time. Or does it change? So this got above, 685, made a high, and that was it. So if you chased it as your first buy because everyone said it's going to 20, you know what? You got a little screwed. You have to know where it's coming from, what's going on here, right? So where's open right now? It's down 15 cents. Yeah, watch the 8-day. This has been a decent trade for a lot of people. So go with it. but I would think it's got to hold right around here. This would be a good spot. Or it does another red dog reversal where it trades through 598, comes back above, and does that. So whatever you're in, whatever you're managing, technical analysis works. It's just a matter of whether it's faster, slower, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so that's open. Someone asked me why I bought RR yesterday. Again, I like the chart. Had a big move. This thing went as high as 388. Turned up yesterday. It's above the moving averages. Some of the institutions that I follow like this a lot. So it's not a hyper focus, but it's something I think you could put on the radar. And you can go to your weekly chart and see how much accumulation there is here. This has been going sideways for a while. It's a sort of a new name-ish, not really that new, but anyway, I like names like this that don't have much memories that people have been accumulating. So this to me is something to put on your radar as a little speck. It's a little speck name. This isn't this isn't Apple, this isn't Tesla, this isn't Nvidia. This is something that I bought yesterday that I think is building and looks pretty good. So I'm in that. As far as the China names, we did really, really well. Those of you who were on the 630 Club last week know, especially if you were on, what's it called, Power Plays, we started buying BABA really well. I think I played BABA right here, that first day one, and then bought it again here, and only made a little bit of money, but then finally, woke up during earnings, rolled out of them, still in the options, and then today, what's BABA doing? BABA is up $4. It's gonna make me some money today. So I said yesterday, I'm like, that was it. 145, 148 was my target. Isn't that fun? Isn't it nice when your target gets hit? I also have Baidu. Let's see what the group's doing. Remember, we talk about groups. Well, here's Baidu. And let's talk JD. JD's only, so at this point, BABA is the one paying you, into today's open. So I'm in BABA 140 calls, which is cool. I sold over half yesterday. I'll sell the other half. I was buying them in here, so I will sell them up there. So that's cool. Baidu, we were buying last week, versus gap around 92.94. At this point, it feels like Baidu could digest above this gap for a little bit. This is 107.65. Let it go sideways, and then I would think at some point, could see this area. So let it digest up here. There's really not much to trade today. And then if you go to the weekly chart, it's nowhere. Look at this Baidu. Remember back in the day, what a name. Anyway, I think, if China stays in play, you could even go higher than that, right? You can go to 155-ish. But anyway, JD finally woke up a little bit. Finally, look at this. This has done absolutely friggin' nothing. Look at this nice little ascending channel here. To me, this looks like on the weekly, you can get towards 39-ish. That would be great, but we'll see. Go to the daily chart. Just had a day one. Just kind of, perked its head up. I have the $33 calls, but I've been buying them down here. And I've talked about it in the 630 Club for free. I give out so much information for free that management gets pissed off at me, but I'm a founding partner. I can do what I want. Anyway, I've been doing the 630 Club since 2020. If you've been finding value, what I would do is I would subscribe above to Red Dog Mindset, really figure out how to get your mind right so you could execute, and also be grandfathered into the program, because in the months ahead, things might change a little bit. And I'd hate to see you get left out. So for $10 a month, what is that, 30 cents a day or 40 cents? This cost me $5. Anyway, with that being said, I think JD is still good too. Some guys like, what do I do with Robinhood now? I'm in Robinhood, and I think, I think give this a little bit of time right here to digest, let it go sideways for maybe a day or two. And then at some point, maybe even later today, it takes out this, what was this? This is 117.46. This is 117.70. So I would say go 117 to 118. Let it digest, let it go sideways a little bit. You could be long versus 112. This is what I do. I frame out trades. Okay, that's my job for the Alpha team, for Redler All Access. I frame it out in a way where you can quantify your risk. So, it's now been added to, where it's going to have all these flows from the S&P 500. It just came back to where resistance is. So it's down 50 cents. It's not a big deal. Okay. So maybe you nibble a little bit more, let it go sideways. And then when it trades through here on big volume, you'll see your 120, 125. So let's go. You want to talk crypto? So this Marshall says, let's talk crypto. Okay, Ethereum looks good. It's got a nice little I guess you can call this a bull flag, right? It looks yeah, definitely looks pretty good. Looks like it's gonna hopefully hold this 35 and then at some point get going. IBIT is also looks like it's trying to break above here. If it does, it's got this nice void. Tom Lee says Bitcoin's going to 200,000. Okay, Tom, we'll see. Anyway, not so bad. Gets above this spot. There's a lot of room in Bitcoin. It's been going sideways. Kenneth says the PPI is Wednesday, CPI is Thursday, FOMC is next Wednesday. That's true. PDD China huge call buys last week. All right, Kenny, I'll tell you, you had a lot of value. Let's go with what's PDD look like. Yeah, it's got a big channel. It also like I don't want to be in 100 Chinese names, to be honest. Bob has been working great. Baidu just played catch up, and now JD woke up. But if this does look decent, you could buy options and not really trade it. This is a really nice big channel, and a lot of accumulation. There's a whole big void here between 133 and 155, so that makes some sense. So if you want to put on like a 135, 155 call spread, go out 2 months and just forget about it. Not so bad. Morning, Scott. Tesla very annoying yesterday. Yes, it was, Joe. I lost money in Tesla yesterday. I didn't play. What I did is I waited and they still lost money. So let's talk about how Red Dog lost money in Tesla, but I'm still in the mix. It looked like it was going to get above and stay above 357. So that's an important concept, my doggies. Get above and stay above. If you think you're going to cheat and if you think you're going to get in there early before everyone else and the stock doesn't prove that it could actually hold and show commitment to a level, you can get hurt, right? It looked like it was going to get above and stay above 357, looked like it. And what did it do? Went to 358.44 and failed. And what did it do? It actually came in and held this gap and it looks fine. But from 325 to 357, it wasn't ready to get above this big level to get towards 367. So now what I did is I'm in options. Okay, I bought a few options yesterday for Tesla. So it's only up $1.20. Maybe it needs to rebuild a little bit here, build a little bit of an inside range before going. So it's more like Lotus. I would buy $360 calls if you feel like you're going to miss this move to here or more, but we'll see. So if it could rally a few points, what I'll probably do is I'll turn it into a spread so I have less risk. But yeah, that was a pain in the butt. Adam Bush. Yesterday was my first day in the Alpha team after spending the summer watching this. Excited to have a strong, nice. Listen, the fourth quarter usually is my best quarter. I'm not on the road over the summer. Sometimes I go to Montauk, do a few things. So I'm always at my desk prepared. I'll tell you, you got to have a crew. This crew here is really strong. The Alpha team, we have an open house next week. You should come to the open house next week, Tuesday through Friday, and just take some accountability and test it and come in and see, listen, you're not going to get rich quick. It's not a get rich quick scheme on the Alpha team. It's just a group of professional traders from around the world that share ideas, share charts, and I'm kind of the baseboard for it. I put like 40 charts in there. I talk all day long, and if you like this for 20 minutes, you're going to love that. If you trade for a living, you don't trade for a living and you just want to find a few tidbits, like my friend Eugene. Eugene's probably watching this. We were at an event last night. He's like, I still have 150 NBIS. I'm like, that's cool. He just builds houses and flips them, and reads my note, and he takes a few things here and there and makes some extra money. So good for him. QS was a nice trade yesterday. Granted, it wasn't so clean. It wasn't so powerful. Like it went huge. It did take out 970, which doesn't matter as much anymore. Now, see if it builds over 926. See if it gets some more deals. The hard battery technology is supposedly better than lithium. So that's what my friends are talking about, how this is going to, it's not just a small little spec name that, these batteries or the chart, it goes like, 800 miles versus 400. So, let it build, go sideways and continue. MLD, if you want the most soothing voice in finance, you could also get Dan Darrow. That's true. Dan Darrow's here. Yeah, Dan Darrow is the man. I like Dan Darrow a lot. He comes on around 11:30 when I go do a workout, since I've been up since 4:45. You have a lot of people. You have Chillo. There's a lot more than just me. Uber Day One, Andrew's asking. Let's see. I haven't looked at Uber in a while. Yeah, Uber has a nice sideways channel. I had a powerful day yesterday. Um, was being a little bit controlled by a double top. Uh, yeah, looks pretty good. Back above the moving averages. I would think it's in play. Not a bad idea. IBM might have started something new. That's true. Nice little push. The guys were talking about it out of this lower level. Um, has to rebuild, has to fill this gap. So maybe in time, we'll see. What are the spies doing right now? Spies are, let's see, Robinhood's down 55 cents. Spies are up 49 cents. I'm sorry about that. Jay-Z's up 10. Yeah, So not a barn burning morning, but we're waiting for revisions. We're waiting for the PPI and CPI, and things are just kind of like digesting a little bit. Microsoft was upgraded. Microsoft needs time. Microsoft's really hard lately. I know a lot of guys that got a little beat up on Friday thinking it would get above here. And guess what? Same concept. Did it get above and stay above? No. It tried and failed. A lot of people short that kind of thing. So they tried to get above 508 and failed. And now let's see if it could rebuild, take back some of these moving averages, before you could go like this now, I guess. This is the low end of the range. Microsoft pulled in like 7-8% while the S&P went up 2%, so it's lagged. For any reason, I don't know. It had a big move. They sold it into earnings, and it's been out of play. So that's that. Sometimes you don't need a real reason. Say that Margarita. Okay. Let's see. GME reports at 4 p.m. I have no interest in GME. Actually, maybe in a little interest. GME. So someone said, how could you're a chief strategist, you're also a trader. How could you talk about stocks you might not own at this time? So for me, I put 40 charts into the alpha team with all different actionable thoughts. If this, then that. If that, then this. I also write a note that goes out to a few thousand people that people could use and create their own strategy. Since I am not just trading every second of the day, because I have to go on TV. I'm going to be on Benzing at 8:35. I was on SiriusXM yesterday. I have meetings. I trade for a living. I get paid quarterly, but I am not in all 40 of the potential things that can make money. I'm in a bunch of them. So as a chief strategic officer, I could write up strategies like a player captain on the field. Doesn't mean I need to run every route. So for those of you who are only in things that I'm in, you can make more money reading it, understanding it, and doing it yourself. That's what I tell everyone on the alpha team, and they understand that. For those of you in Twitter land who come here, come there, do this, do that, and try and piece it together, you're never going to get anywhere. But anyway, with that being said, someone just asked me about GME. Actually, the risk reward of GME down here is probably not so bad. Maybe they could say something exciting because nobody's really expecting anything. So they were supposed to be buying crypto for a while now. So this is a lower level. What would, maybe you could buy the $25 calls and all of a sudden it wants to fill this gap. So I don't think anyone's talking about it. People have been lulled to sleep here as they've been trading, CRCL, BMNR, all those kind of things. What is the process to join the open house? I think the link is on my Twitter. So anyway, right here, I might actually take some options just for fun. This looks like it could wake up. There's probably a big short interest here. Yes, Tapan says there's job data revisions today. Might be start to add little Kerps just says ZS. What's ZSS look like? Yes, if you looks like it's waking up again, Zscaler. This isn't a name that I usually am in tune with or touch, but this has had some nice trades for the community. Remember when this got above 218? And then what did it do? It stayed above the 821 day all the way up until it failed right here. Looks like it's trying to rebuild. So there is a void here if it wants to get better. I get it. UNH looks pretty good too. UNH had a big gap up. It held it. It's going sideways. Looks like it's on its way to 324-ish, or maybe even to fill that gap. So there's a lot of things going over. Oh, you know what we were talking about yesterday in Stocks on Spaces? XLV. I'm going to probably put this on today. I'm going to go out a month. This is the healthcare ETF. It's been out of play. A lot of money's been rotating here and there. There's your 200-day. It held this gap. It's going sideways. Listen, this isn't OCLO or OCTO. This isn't the craziest, sexiest trade, but it's something that the premiums are probably really light, and you could probably go by like the 140s, or what's this high here? You could buy the 140s and go out 6 weeks and not time it, and then maybe it triggers and pays you a little bit. You's been pretty good too. So anyway, with that being said, it's 6:57. I'm only be doing this for 20 minutes. I did it for 27. For those of you who get some value here, as I do a lot of research for everyone, you should try the Alpha Team next week. It's for free. And just take some accountability for where you're at this year. Some guys are not happy. They've been shorting the market all year. They're down money and they're miserable, hoping for bad news. Don't ever be that way. Life's always better with a glass half full anyway. So for those of you who are frustrated bears, you know what? Over time, the bull market usually wins, my friends. That's why you put money every single month into a 401k, a 529, but that's different. Typically, it's a lot more fun to play stocks to the upside than to the down, even though they do move down fast when they do. So I get it. Just use the 8 and 21 days, your guide. Above that, you're long. Below it, things could get a little testy. Listen, guys, I appreciate you. I'll see you on the other side.